Hello, Nichols Retirement Empire. Back on the trail. I haven't walked on the trail since the last snake scare that I had, where I walked up on that copperhead. I mean, it's not unusual for me to see snakes out here, but I don't like seeing copperheads. So I've tried to stay off the trail a little bit here lately. But anyway, I guess today we could talk about subject of scavenging. Scavenging. Teachers are great scavengers. Always have been. They've always, borrowed ideas from other teachers and used information from other teachers. And, you have a thing now called teachers pay teachers, where they can get information from other teachers on the internet. And I mean, it's very successful. Teachers have always been like that. Now, if you ask them about supplies and stuff like that, they'll always tell you they don't have enough. They always think they don't have enough materials. And today, that's not really so true. I'm going to take you back to a time where scavenging was a necessity in teaching. When I got my first assignment as a student teacher, I learned this very quickly. I went to a very small rural high school. The guy that was my supervising teacher was about my age, and I was 22 or 21, something like that. So, I was probably 21. So anyway, he turns the class over to me, and I'm just teaching and running stuff off and giving kids handouts and copying stuff. And, and every time I would do this, the kids would look at me and they would say, "What are we supposed to do with this?" And I just thought that was so weird. I thought, why are they asking me what they should do? I mean, put it in your notebook, keep it. And after about 2 weeks, I ran out of the stack of paper that was behind the desk. And I went to my supervising teacher. I said, "Hey, I need some more paper." And his head snapped around. He's like, "Well, you need more what?" I said, "I need more paper." "What are you talking about? How could you possibly need more paper?" I mean, I don't know. I've been running stuff off. He's like, "What do you mean you've been running stuff?" I said, "Well, you told me I could use this to run stuff off." He's like, "How much stuff have you run off?" I'm like, "Oh, however much I need to, And he started looking at what I was doing. He goes, "What?" He goes, "Don't ever give them anything." I'm like, "What do you mean don't ever give them anything?" He said, "Anything you run off, make them copy it and give it back to you. That way you can use it again." We didn't have any materials. Now, when you're going to college, they don't tell you that. They don't tell you that when you go into this building, you're going to have to, scratch and claw for everything you can get. And I was like, he goes, "You never give them anything. That was all my paper for the whole year. That's it. That's all I get. I don't have any more paper. There is no more paper." And I was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm doing my student teaching." He goes, "Okay, well, let's go." So he made me go around to every teacher, and we started with the coaches, because, the PE teachers, they're not running anything off. So we went to the PE teachers. "Do you have any extra paper? My student teacher has used all my paper." And they would all look at me like, "How old are you?" They would all look at me like I was an idiot. "I don't know. I got about 50 sheets here. I guess I can give you." And I got a ream of paper here. I'll give you. So anyway, we managed to scrounge up enough paper for me to survive my student teaching. So that was my first lesson in scavenging. And I didn't realize it. I mean, we didn't get any material. They would give you one little box of stuff with all of your rubber bands and markers and pencils and pens and paper clips and your box of paper, and they would give it to you, and that was it. That's what you got. Don't come ask for nothing else. Don't come, because there's not anything else. It was terrible. We didn't get paid anything, back then, and that's just it. That's what you got. So I would handwrite, and I didn't have any workbooks. I would handwrite everything I did and give it to the kids, make them copy it and take it back up. That's how I did everything. Now, if you did that now, they'd fire you. I mean, like, what are you having them copy stuff for? We don't have time to have the kids sitting around copying. But back then, that's what we had to do. I hand wrote my test with a pen and a blank piece of paper, and I would use the same test year after year, and I would use the same sheets that I made year after year. That's just the way you had to do it. You didn't have any paper. You didn't have any markers. I learned the lesson even better when I went to my first teaching job, and I walked in my room the first day, and it wasn't a room. It was a partitioned area. Remember I told you that the building didn't have rooms, it just had partitions, and they didn't even have doors. So every teacher just had a little partitioned area that you had 33 kids in. And so anyway, I walked into my partitioned area, and there was 3 desks, and of course they didn't match. A teacher's desk, no teacher's chair, a chalkboard, some chalk, and a stack of books. That was it. That's all I got. No teacher's book, no workbooks, no supplies, nothing. I had to go around. So I went to another teacher. I said, what am I supposed to do? I've only got 3 desks. I got 33 kids in every single class. Well, are they gonna bring me some desks? And she just kind of laughed. I'll bring you some desks. That's pretty. How old are you? And I'm 21. Okay, that's why you think like that. Nobody's gonna bring you any desk. What you're gonna have to do, here's my second lesson in scrounging, my second lesson in scavenging. What you're gonna have to do is go to every teacher and see if they have a desk or two, see if they have extra desks in their rooms. So what had happened was whoever had that room last, when that room was unoccupied, all the other teachers went and got those desks that I had, and then they took their bad desks and swapped them out. They didn't even do that. They made me come get them. So I had to go to every room. Hey, do you have any desks that I can have? I got that one over there that's got 3 legs. You can have it, I got that one that's written on all over, you can have that one. So I managed to scrounge together 33 desks that were horrible looking. And that's what I got. I had to get that. Later on, as we started getting more and more supplies, there started to be more money put into education. We still kind of continued on doing that, because you never knew, especially the older teachers. I was always waiting for a time when it came back to where they all of a sudden said, okay, we're out of paper this year. I was always prepared for something like that. The younger teachers couldn't conceive of that. They just run stuff off and give it to the kids, and I'm over here running stuff off on the front and back and taking it back up from the kids, and they'd be like, what are you doing? Why don't you? And I'm like, no, I have to copy it. I'm not, I wouldn't give them anything. I still did it the same way that guy taught me years and years ago. Today, it's not like that. But now, if you ask teachers, man, they'll act like they don't have anything. It don't matter how much stuff you give them. That's not enough. We need, well, you got 5 different sets of books and 4 workbooks, and you got computers, and you got to, all this kind of stuff. We need this, I'll be like, man, I just look at them and say, you know what? When I started, I had 35 books, and half the pages were tore out of them. No teacher's edition, a chalkboard and some chalk, and 3 desks. And I had to teach. And that's it. That's what you got. And they just look at me like, yeah, whatever. I need this. But anyway, that's one of those things you just had to learn as a teacher, how to scavenge. Now, the one off-limits scavenging area, the teacher's lounge. Don't eat somebody else's lunch. Don't eat my potato chips that I left sitting on top of the refrigerator. See, that's not scavenging. That's not being resourceful. That's stealing somebody's food. So that was off limits. You know, there were limits. There's limits to everything. And the rule was, you steal my potato chips, I'm gluing all your desk drawers shut. So you had to draw a line. I never actually did that. I never glued anybody's desk drawer shut. That guy did eat my potato chips that day, though. I was very upset about that. I let him know it too. Steal my potato chips. Potato chip crumbs all over his chest, trying to claim like he didn't eat my potato chips. Barbecue Lays. I could see they were barbecued. It was all over his chest. I didn't eat your potato chips. Now you're lying. You're stealing and lying. And if I ever needed anything, I'd just keep an eye out for it in the building, you know. And if there was ever a room that wasn't used that had good desk, I'd swap my desk out for the good desk that were in the room they wasn't using. Or if I needed some markers and, you know, I mean, you just had to do that. That's part of teaching. Scavenging.